just done a run down to Bunnings to return some stuff that I didn't use when I was putting up the Christmas decorations. The conduit that I'd bought to run the electrical cable through up to the front of the yard, I had a whole stack of extra connections, and returned the ones I didn't need, and returned a couple of cans of spray paint because I bought more than I needed just to be sure. The main reason I went down there was to buy some roofing screws and some new silicone. The cover that I built over the kitchen door, the landing, had a bit of a look at the top of it, and it's not weathering that well. Waterproofing stuff that I'd put on the surface was basically deteriorating a little bit in the sun. The caulking that I'd bought for the flashing had come apart in a couple of spots, which was causing this water to run down the bricks behind the roof. I've cut up some iron roofing, some of the super deck stuff or whatever it's called that I had lying around. I washed it off and brushed it with the broom and cleaned it back and cut the pieces, got up on the roof, marked out where it goes, needs to go around the conduit that runs up for the air conditioning in the top room. And I got all those ready, and then when I went into the shed thinking I had roofing screws, I only had short roofing screws for metal to metal, whereas I need longer roofing screws for metal to timber. I'm hoping that I can really get this done. I cut the metal to overhang just a bit further than the ply roof, so that I can still put some sideboards and a fascia as well. Hopefully finish this roof off. Long overdue. Like many of the things I do around the house, I start them and I don't get them finished. Now this one was nowhere near finished, but all the same. On the underside I'll have to do some beading and sealing as well. It's 3:30. I left at 2:30. It's amazing how long a short errand takes when you've got to drive somewhere to get there and do it. But yeah, so 3:30 I should be able to get the tin up at least, and hopefully I'll get the new flashing, or redo the flashing at the top. And this little fella hanging in a web, and he's his legs are all curled up. He's getting burned out with the wind at the moment. But his eyes have been following me, and he keeps manipulating his tail. But I don't know whether he's actually been got by a spider or not, or whether he just got completely exhausted because he was hanging in a web. There was web all stuck in his legs. I managed to get all that out. Yeah, he kind of looks exhausted. That's away. That's our way. You know where to that out. This is our second walk for the day. He wasn't in much of a mood for a walk this morning. I mean, he went, but he was really slow and kept sort of stopping and looking around, but it wasn't like an energetic walk. My wife said he'd been just laying at the end of the bed, looking really down and bored. So she said, "You want to take him for another walk?" And I said, "We'll give it a go." And he's got more pep in him. He actually wanted, you saw it, he wanted to start with a jog. And he's done that a fair bit along this walk. So maybe he's just not a morning person. Made me jog again, down to the lookout. But you might have heard just then, there was a whole group of people down at the lower part of the lookout, looking out. Was almost tempted to go down and say g'day, but they also had a dog down there. And he's already barked at a pug. We're heading back now. It's 10 to 8. Sun's close to setting. It will probably be set by the time we get back to the house. Hello. Hello. Yeah, you know you said it before. Another one. Another one. More. Hello, fellas. Hello, fellas. There's good birds, see? Easy. Hey. At least you missed it. See what I mean by he lacks pep in the morning? Yeah? He wanted to come out, but we're barely up our own street. And shoes today. Turns out 4.5 kilometres of walking barefoot in one day was not appreciated by my feet. They're just a little sore today. Last night. It's 9 o'clock. It's 21 degrees or 69 Fahrenheit. And just checking the road, it's just starting to warm up. So yeah, it doesn't take long for it to start to warm up. So we'll just make this a short walk. Alright, there we go. Let's go around the block. What is it? Birdies. Hey? 7:40 evening walk. Decided Yeah, we'll do a walk in the morning and a walk in the evening. Do 2 shorter walks maybe. Now he's jogging. He made me run yesterday. Here's someone I haven't seen for a while. Good to know he's still around. It's looking a bit bigger too. So when all of this got offered to me, this was the stuff that was in the library. One of my staff said, "Oh, just let it go, would you?" But I've got 6mm and 19mm MDF here. Granted, I can't use that with the students, but I can use it for shop projects and stuff. And it works out that I've got like 1 sheet of 19 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sheets a quarter, or 6mm. Now they're usually about $30 to $40 a sheet. These ones are 60 to 80. I'm not sure on the exact price now. And then there's all of the 90 by 35. I don't usually buy 90 by 35 because I don't use a lot of it. Most of the time we just use 70 by 35. But 90 by 35 is like, I think, somewhere between $4 and $7 a metre. So I'd have a couple of $100 worth of framing timber in there. Just needs to be denailed. That's my last order of the 70 by 35, which is what I use. So I got a few hundred metres of that, which, like I said, several $100s. I think this stuff was $4 something a metre. That needs to go from here down to the container, but the container's got to get sorted out a bit so that I can open the racks up that they can sit on. Now all of the MDF, I've just sorted this space out, so I'll be able to stand all the MDF up in here even with the nails on it. And then I'll be good for sheet goods for quite a while, because I can use the plywood with the kids and I can use the particle board and the MDF for around the shops. So I'm going to get this unpacked. So that's all the MDF stored. 2 bits are 19. They basically make up one 4x8 sheet, 24 by 12, and then all of the 6mm, majority of which are 2400 long, 600 wide, and then these 4 pieces that are only half sheets, or quarter sheets I should say. That's a half sheet. So now to the pine. So there's all my pine stacked up. Some up the top, some there, some here, little bits, and then all this plywood was just sitting outside here, over there. And it's gotten a bit warped in the weather, but it could be used for bits and pieces. But the pine is currently $4 a metre at Bunnings. So that plus the MDF, I'm basically reclaiming bit over $700 worth of materials. Worthwhile when I think that was the amount that they said they were cutting from my budget for timber and metal. They told me to use what I had on hand first. So I'm using what I've had on hand and what I can reclaim. You're getting pooped. Ah, you're a good boy about that. You're a good boy. One thing I realised when I was talking about the timber down at work, I said they were withholding $800 from my budget, and so I'd made up basically almost getting $800 worth of materials. No, they told me they were withholding $8,000 from my budget because I'd budgeted $8,000 for timber and metals to resupply early next year. I said I probably will need to order steel. I could probably get away with all the timber. I'll probably need to order steel. And they said, yeah, that's all right. We'll release the money when we need to. But they just weren't plopping it in my budget from the start. Anyway.